Hi, I'm Ishan Kumar, a sports and wildlife photographer based in Singapore. As many of you may know, I photographed the Singapore Prudential Tour de France Criterium a couple of weeks ago, and I will be breaking down a couple of the images I photographed and how I edited them. So today I'm gonna do this photograph. It's one of my favorites from the event. And it's actually quite, the finished product that you see is actually quite different from the original photograph, and it's pretty heavily edited. So this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of walk you through how I edited it as opposed to editing it live on the recording. So the original photograph actually looked something like this. I shot this with my 200 to 600 mm lens at 600 mm, ISO 125, f6.3, and 1/500th of a second shutter speed. This image isn't too heavily edited in like this sense of like basic settings. So let's start with the crop. It's a pretty heavy crop towards the bottom right, because I found like the stuff around was pretty distracting. And then so that's pretty much all it is in the crop. Now exposure I increased by half a stop. I bumped up the contrast a little bit, nothing too significant. Brought down highlights, increased shadows to make the faces and details more clear, especially with like the harsh lighting and like the dark sunglasses on their faces, and just played a bit around with the whites and the blacks. Like I mentioned in my other videos, I always increase the texture and clarity in sports photographs, and I really wanted to bring out the colors in their jerseys, so I did increase the vibrance a little bit. Apart from that, I didn't do anything else in the basic settings. And then what I did was I opened this in Photoshop. So how I got from this image to here was through Photoshop. So now I'm going to break down what I did in Photoshop. So I'm not super experienced with using Photoshop, so it was kind of like a work in progress and I was learning. So this is the background. What I did was I applied a filter and one second, let me select the background. I went to blur and motion blur, this one. I played around with the angles and found something that I liked, and really something that lined up with the angle the riders were going in on the screen, like in the sense that they weren't in the straight line, it was slightly diagonal across the screen. So I tried to get the blur to match up with that to some degree. Then I duplicated the background layer. Well, I added another layer with the original photograph, in which I like selected just the front rider and masked him out. So now you just have this guy and your background is this. So what I did was I created a mask and applied a gradient to it, so it's kind of fading him out, which I think makes him blend in better with the background. And then I placed him in exactly the same spot that he was earlier, and that's kind of how my image came together like this. Now it might seem like a really simple edit, but for me, as somebody who doesn't use Photoshop much with my wildlife images, in part due to the fact that competitions don't allow super heavily edited images like this, and in part due to the fact that was just something really daunting for me to try. It was pretty complicated because I had to research how to work with layers and make masks and things like that I hadn't really worked with in the past. And yeah, that's how this image came together, and I hope you like it.